Right, well, I've had a bit of a sleep, a bit better than I did in the hotel. I think Vizgig did as well. So I thought I'd just compile my thoughts over the past few days we've had at Disney and just lay it out. Just my personal opinion, take of it what you will. Hopefully it'll help people. So there are good points about the break, there are bad points about it, and the stuff that's is in the middle really. So it's easy to make flash judgments on things, but yeah, especially when you're in the moment. But yeah, it's always best to have a little cogitate and have a think about the things that you experience. Just try and get a good balance out of it. So one of the things that stood out, not just as a good point, not just as a bad point, but also as a middle point. It was good it had points in every area, and that was the disability access of not just Disneyland, but Paris Airport, the transportation in general, even Manchester Airport for that matter, and on the EasyJet as well. With all airlines, with all venues, if you let them know you have a disability ahead of time, they can sometimes put in some support for you to help you out. Sometimes it's needed, sometimes it's not. But if you have the option to do that and you do need support, I recommend that you always do it. With Disneyland Paris, they do run a DAS service, unlike in the American parks. They are a bit more open and it's a bit more understanding with your physical and your mental need to support. They will ask you a question. They will ask for proof of this disability, whether it be mental or physical. They give you a whole list of items you can use for proof on the website. Please go and check it out. I'll pop a link down below. Basically they'll ask you a few questions once you check into the hotel or at guest services, and they will give you a card just like this. Look at my little face there. But most importantly is this little thing here, if I can find it. Yeah, you'll be colour coded effectively, and that will tell the cast member at the ride that you have certain limitations, and they will help you accordingly. Whether that's just give you a bit more time to get on, give you a bit more support, let people know at the loading dock to hold the cart down just so you get the time that you need to get on the. There's all sorts of support structures that they put in place for you. Be open, be honest. But one thing it does, unlike the old DAS Pass system where you had a party of, say, like 10 people and one person needed the DAS support, they presented their DAS Pass and the whole party of 10 loaded on, regardless of their abilities and limitations. This pass only allowed me, my carer, who is Vizgig, and one other if needs be. So it'll only allow 2 people. That may change depending on the colour rating you have, but yeah, it limited people. And I did see families, the people that needed the DAS support and the assistance, with the carer, those people went on the disability side and they waited for the rest of their party to come through the main line. So unfortunately, in American parks, we do have the issue where there are the minority that have used it just to get the whole party on. It's unfortunate, it's the way of the world, and it's sad to say, but it's affecting the majority of us, and that's why the saying goes, that's why we can't have the nice things. But it's there if you need it. I advise you do use it. It came in very helpful for us. With the parks in general, this is where it falls into the middle line. There's lots of uneven footpaths, slippy surfaces, and things like that. So, watch your footing if you have mobility issues. Also, things like disability toilets. Whoever designed disability toilets had no idea of disabilities. The different heights, the different sizes, the support on one side and not the other, and that varies left or right. The position of things like toilet paper, soap, sinks, hooks. They are as random as they come, which isn't really good for people of disabilities, let alone someone who struggles in a wheelchair to get onto a high toilet seat or even get the supports that they need to transfer themselves. You know, there's just one chair and one support. It can be tricky. It's just the positioning of everything isn't the best, and in my personal view, I think it needs a review across the whole site. It wasn't too troublesome for someone with my abilities, but I still had trouble. So yeah, just bear that in mind. Take as much time as you need. Don't let anyone rush you, and hopefully you'll have a good experience with that. The staff, those that all the cast members that were aware you needed support, they were brilliant. They couldn't do enough to help you, so they very much fall on the good side. One of the things with disability access that falls on the bad side is people in the parks, and I'll come on to that a little later on. Another good thing was Prestige Travel, the people that drove us from the airport and back again. They were absolutely brilliant. They were polite, courteous, professional. They couldn't do enough to help us, wanted to entertain us on the trip, but we just like to sit quiet in the car. Very boring, but yeah, especially when we both suffer from motion sickness, just, concentrating on the travel, just make sure we keep our heads steady. That's what we like to do. So we don't want to watch any of the film or TV presentations that were trying to show us, but I'll pop a link down to them. Now, they were expensive, but yeah, you get what you pay for. For this trip, it was €80 each way. Now, that was a lot for two people. However, you could fit at least 6 people in this car. So if you break it down, it wouldn't actually be that much if you filled the car. If you wanted to share it with other families, it was brilliant. They were punctual. They knew the roads there, and trust me, there are some wild, dark, windy roads between Disneyland Park and Charles de Gaulle Airport. And didn't even need a sat nav. He knew it like the back of his hand. Let's say they're very professional, absolutely on time, very friendly, and couldn't do enough to help us. So I'd highly recommend them. If we go back to Disneyland Park in Paris, then very likely we will use them again. Security, I put them in the middle category. Now, this is the security for getting onto the parks. Now, they are very good. The only downside I had with security was of my own fault. I took a selfie stick. Don't know why selfie sticks are a banned item, but they are. I didn't do my due diligence and check the rules and things like that, so make sure you do. Learn from my mistakes. The only problem we had is the security, especially if you go in the on the walking path. It's a little tent. There's nowhere for them to secure or keep stuff. He basically made me walk all the way back to the hotel to put it back in my room, which is, it's my fault. Hold my hands up. But yeah, there was no consideration for security, and but yeah, it is what it is. That was the only downside of it. Other than that, they are brilliant. They have scanners, literally just putting your stuff down on one side, bag through a scanner, and you walk through the metal detector, and they are very quick. The only thing I don't like is you're leaving your personal things in a closed environment for anyone to pick up. It's not hard for someone to just go, "Oh, it's a phone, thank you," and off they go, and you won't catch them, especially if you've got limited mobility. One bad thing is the merch. Can you believe it? Merch in Disney is a bad thing. Yeah, there just wasn't any merch, really. There was the same Spirit jerseys. You had a Haunted Mansion one, you had a Big Thunder Mountain one, and you had a couple of random Disney ones. There's one for Pixar and one for, with Mickey on, I think, Disneyland Park. But yeah, it was basically the same 4, possibly even 5 Spirit jerseys across the whole park. There was no other variation than that. There were hardly any T-shirts available. Granted, it's January, but when has that ever stopped Disney selling your merch? There were plushies everywhere of all sorts, all sizes, all characters, just everywhere. Pin badges, didn't seem to be that many. Keychains, there was a small variety, but once again, spread out amongst the park. One thing that did baffle me, nowhere in the park is there any representation for Jack Skellington. Now, there may be at Halloween, but in no part of the park that I could see, whether it's Disneyland Park or what, Disney Studios, any representation for The Nightmare Before Christmas. However, any empty corner of the shop is full of Jack Skellington stuff, so they obviously love him over there, or they've got a massive excess of stock that they just whack there. Don't know how he falls into the theming of Pirates, but he's there. Don't know how he falls into the theming of Frontierland, but he's there. He's in Disney Studios, he's in Avengers Camp. He is everywhere. Don't know why, but he is. So if Jack Skellington's your thing and you want some merch, that's the place to go. But yeah, just in general, it wasn't even any sweets or chocolates. I couldn't believe that. You can buy some pre-packaged stuff, some generic biscuits and some pre-packaged biscuit sweets in the Disneyland store. But they were small little pre-packaged no Rice Krispie cakes, no muffins, no cookies, nothing. The confectionery was shut, but then again, in Disneyland Park, that's a very small. You could probably fit 4 of them in the one in Florida. It's that small, the confectionery there. But once again, it is what it is. Back to a middle point is Hotel Santa Fe. Now, Hotel Santa Fe, the room was good. Obviously, you see the room tour in one of the vlogs. The beds were comfy. We were actually on a corner room, and we were expecting it, because we were right by the door, for it to be noisy. No, the only noise was my snoring. Poor Fizgig hardly got a wink of sleep. Beds are comfy. It was warm enough. They have that internal heater and fan just in case it's too hot or too cold. The controls to that were, it's a flip of a coin if it worked or not. But yeah, there was sometimes it was absolutely roastingly hot. There was a fan heater in the bathroom which was on 24/7. No idea how to switch that off. So you constantly had to shut the bathroom door to stop the noise of the fan so it didn't wake you up at night. But obviously, if you got up in the middle of the night, as us old people do, walk into the bathroom and it's like walking into a sauna. Yeah, the only other issue we had was Starbucks venue was shut for, I'm assuming, refurbishment. It wasn't very clear, and as it just said it was shut, and it just said it's not open at this time. And the bar didn't open till 5:30. So at no point anywhere in the hotel is there anywhere to sit down, just have a drink, just have a little wait or a chill, no activities or anything going on. The only thing you had was the limited seating in the lobby, which, when you've got families checking out and all waiting for the magical bus to come take them back to the airport, it was full. There was bodies strewn everywhere. There was nowhere. And I said, look, I'm disabled, and I was wondering if I could go sit in the bar, just, whilst they wait for my transfer and things like that. Said, no, you're right. I'll go and tell one of these people to move. And I thought, well, don't ask them to move. It's it's embarrassing for them. It's embarrassing for me. Don't do that. Don't want to do anyone out of a chair. They're just sat there waiting. But yeah, that seemed to be the only thing there. So anyway, wasn't really handled very well in my opinion. But it just seemed daft. You've got all these people waiting. Why not open the bar? There were TVs in the bar, so all the kids that were screaming and running around and throwing stuff across the lobby and things like that. They could have their activities. They could go watch a TV and something like that. It was a missed opportunity. I thought they should have opened the bar, but no one did. Possibly staffing issue. I don't know, but that's what put a bit of a negative spin on Santa Fe. The other thing that put a bit of a negative spin on it was there's no tea or coffee facilities in the room. Now, this has been going on for a while. I think in Hotel Cheyenne, they've got the tea and coffee there. But if you use your room key, there are drinks dispensers, and I think they give you, if there's 2 people in the room, you get a free drink each day. Very generous of them. But yeah, you just hold up, you make your order, and when it asks for payment, you hold up your room key to the machine, and it gives you your free drink. Going back to good points, cast members. Now, yeah, I did say that particular instance wasn't very well managed, but in general, cast members are brilliant. They will help you every chance they get. The people at Paris are amongst the best I've ever seen. They're very friendly, they're very helpful, they're very knowledgeable. Some of them speak 3-4 languages at the drop of a hat. Absolutely brilliant. Not everyone can speak. I mean, I don't speak that many languages, but there are those that are. It's the type of cast member you want. They go above and beyond and really do help you out. So big thumbs up to the cast members at Disneyland Paris. Absolutely brilliant. Another good point, go back to the hotel actually, just thought about this, but it's the actual hotel location. Now, Disneyland hotels, we've got Hotel New York, the Art of Marvel, Newport Bay, Sequoia Lodge, Cheyenne, Santa Fe. They are all within walking distance of the hotel, of the parks. If you're limited in mobility, like myself, you can do it, but you may need to stop a few times, like I do, to get your breath, because the pavement, as I mentioned, is uneven, and it's still a distance, whatever your ability is. But yeah, it's all within walking distance, and sometimes with all the people trying to pile onto the buses, by the time you've got to the bus stop, waiting for the bus, dropped off at the train station, then walked to the security, which is a bit of a walk in itself, you could be in the park. So sometimes if you're in the right position on the hotel, just walk to the parks. It's just so much easier. Don't think I'll be doing that again though, because obviously it was getting way too much for me. Maybe you need to think about a chair or a closer hotel next time we go, but that's for future times. One in the middle is the food. You could ask for a Mickey donut, and it's okay. It tastes like a dry donut with a little bit of chocolate in the middle, but nothing in it. So it's a bit meh. There's other food. You've got some stuff. The food is either really, really good or just okay. And there's not much variety there. They like the Tex-Mex there, I'll tell you that. Hotel Santa Fe's got Tex-Mex. You got Billy Bob's. You got the Grange. It's Tex-Mex. There's the Coco themed restaurant, Tex-Mex. There's loads of places if you like Tex-Mex, so you're well covered there. A lot of the hotels were shut or they closed it. I mean, a lot of the restaurants and cafes and things like that in the parks, they shut at 5 o'clock. You think most people want to eat about 6? or even later sometimes, then, there's nowhere in the parks to eat. So everyone descends on the one little delicatessen with limited seating and absolutely batter it. I mean, you do get the croque monsieur there, which is, I've said in the vlogs, is the best thing to get at Disneyland Park. So I can understand the massive queues, but when there's like 3 or 4 tables for like 500 people to try and fight over, it's not the best. So yeah, open a bit later. There's people that are willing to pay for food and drink. Just do it. But they do have lots of little carts that are out in the environment for people to queue out. Although, if it's freezing cold, I'm not sure that a couple of fruit-flavoured macarons are going to do it. So anyway, but yeah, talking about the queuing up in the environment, the weather, that is very firmly in the bad. Especially the time of year that we go. Granted, yeah, the parks are generally quieter, although it seemed very busy this time. I'm not sure why. Perhaps he knew I was coming. I doubt it. But yeah, it's freezing cold. I'd love to see what it's like on a hot day in Disneyland Paris, because it was freezing. It was at best 2-3 degrees. Everyone was shivering. It was chucking it down a lot of the time. It killed the fireworks, the one we went to. We were too tired to go the second night, but it rained that night as well. But yeah, just I don't know if it was just bad luck with the weather, but I've seen this happen more than a few times. Might be the positioning of the fireworks that are positioned on the castle. But every time fireworks went off, the residual smoke just covered the castle, so you couldn't see any projections. We were halfway down Main Street, and you could not see the end of Main Street. The smoke was that thick with fireworks smoke. Yeah, so there was no point looking at the castle, but we went there to look at the projections down Main Street, which I caught a bit, but because it was absolutely chucking it down, yeah, I had to hide under a doorway, but I got a little bit of it. But yeah, the weather can be a major factor. The rides, yeah, I put that in the middle because half of them was shut for refurbishment, which is a good thing, but it's also a bad thing because it limits everything else. And probably that was why it felt a bit busier than it would be normally, because there was no capacity to soak up the crowds, because literally 50% of the attractions, if not more, were shut. The only thing that was open with any kind of vigour were in Walt Disney Studios was Avengers Campus, and there's only 2 rides there. But yeah, if you wanted to get from point A to point B, you literally had to walk the full circumference of the park. But because of that, it made the few rides there have massive. It's like the shortest we saw Tower of Terror was 75 minutes. And it's just absolutely crazy. You'd expect that in high summer, or a busy weekend. But anyway, one definite plus is the price. It is, well, for us personally, it's cheaper, a lot more affordable all round to go to Disneyland Paris. Small park, so you can do everything in 2-3 days. You don't need more park days than that. You can if you want, but most packages tend to be for 3 days. And if you tag on travel day like we did, our final day, we got to spend time in the parks and then had a late flight. So you can wrap things up quite conveniently. But also that means that the price is cheaper. Also, as with all things, you get what you pay for. So don't expect first class treatment if you're paying bargain bucket prices. But yeah, as with all things, that is what it is. Now, unfortunately, this brings me to the final point I want to make, and it's not representative of all people that attend Disney parks in all areas of the world, or even in Paris. The majority of people are lovely. They're all there to have a lovely time. But by far, and this was echoed not just by my personal view, and I'm sorry if I upset people, but it's my honest view. I spoke to multiple people, especially young lady Danielle. Danielle, hi. Met you at Santa Fe as we were waiting. We were saying about the experiences we've both had in the parks multiple times. The biggest downside of going to Disneyland Paris are the people in the parks. I've said this before in other vlogs, but from a view of someone with a disability, and the people I spoke to, they all had limitations, whether it be mental and be physical, whether it be whatever. They all had limitations, and they found some of the people, the minority, I will say minority, they are rude, they are discourteous, and in some instances they are downright offensive. They will barge you out of the way. They will not move for you. They will not support you or give you any kind of accommodation in any way, shape or form. If you are walking to them, they practically play chicken with you, and they will expect you to move out the way of them. They will barge you out of the queues. They will jump the queues completely. And in one instance, there was a little girl. She was in a pram. She had learning difficulties and wanted to watch the parade. And the mother just asked them, these adults that were stood at the front, is it okay if the little girl sits in front of them and they stand behind her? Because she was a little girl. She was about 4 or 5 in a pram, and she just wanted to see the parade. They would not move for her, let her go in front of them, even though it would not affect their view in any way, shape or form. And she said that they were even turning around and laughing at her because the kid was upset. And that is wrong. That needs to stop. People need to learn. People need to be a bit more accommodating for each other. We should all be helping each other rather than restricting each other. So bear that in mind when you go to the parks. People won't be as wonderful as you'd expect them to be. There is the possibility that there may be negative behaviour, but be polite, take the upper hand, and just learn from the experience. And with that, we are done. I want to say thank you to all the lovely people that helped me throughout the holiday, especially Fizzgig. Really did do her best to help me. Hopefully you got something out of this. If you enjoyed the vlog series, there are more to come, so please keep your eyes on the channel. If you like this, please give us a thumbs up. If you've got any comments, please do put them down below. Love to chat to people. Drop us a line on our email or our socials. More than happy to chat with people. If you want any information and you don't know where to ask, feel free to message me. I may not know the answer, but I hopefully can put you in the right direction. If you've enjoyed our vlogs, if you like the things that I'm putting out there, then please do consider subscribing. It's free and it really does help us out, helps more people see the channels, helps with the demographics. And also, if you are a subscriber, make sure you click the notification bell, so whenever anything new comes up, you'll get a little notification just to let you know there's something to be viewed. And until next time, bye-bye.